Etiefo memo bi akwaba eba Melodies TV so. There is a very interesting, I don't know, it sounds worrying, interesting and all that. Now, it is about the Auditor General. Na Auditor General no se me pese me treatre mu. Na ohede obi atiase a Auditor General no akwakoye se aban penyi a obu akunta. Nti oya aban ni a yebema osika se fakokoye adwuma. Odi koye adwuma wi a Auditor General no na wo se oba eba bebu akunta ni oba bebisa o se sika no ede na odi koye ye ade na odi kokoye ye no receipt wa he ne nyama. Nti Auditor General ne de na adwuma ya ade bi a in every democracy no ehu hia. Na Auditor General edi 2024 audit reports aba. Normally no eya na year no ende. Nti you different new year mu a in the middle of the new year near the previous year no aban sika mo eyusu ye ne de na mo de ye no de aba. Na Auditor General report here wo de aba no. Otremu say in 2024 President Akufo Addo aban eye bibi. Na de na omoye ye no ye friend no overstatement of public debt. Na ne tre say eka na nke eye Ghana fo ka ana eka President Akufo Addo aban eka say eye ka Ghana fo ye de no hunti Ghana fo ye bre ye yisun hu because ye de card ya na tre say wo say ye mia abombelet ye gi ye more taxes ene nyama because ye de ka no Auditor dey na tre say President Akufo Addo aban overstate over omoma the public debt no there was an overstatement of public debt. No simple and short. Se me pese me treatre mu na Ghana ni ti ase a akwa ye say chobo ye ka say chobo a chobo eye overstatement. Ati ase. Nti yemfa ne say 1 cedi okoto bibi eye 1 cedi. No akwa twantro say ade na okoto na eye 3 cedis. No waje sa 1 cedi no. So what chobo 2 cedis. Meboa. Nti chobo eye overstatement. Nti odeka na obi si opese oboa o. Na eka na wode na eye 10 cedis. Ebia osofo bi pese oboa o na eka na wode na eye 10 cedis. Na akwa tra osofo say eka na wode no eye 30 cedis. Actually say we twantro what chobo say 20 cedis. Nti wo tre say President Akufo Addo aban sa de no eno ye. That is what the audit report is saying. Now we say an amount of 138.91 billion Ghana cedis. Overstatement of public debt of 138.91 billion Ghana cedis. We are going to read the report and see say BBC no dien na ema na basa Auditor General ne kra no dien na wo ye den oka yankinkan or see overstatement of public debt 138.91 billion. Now or say section 54 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016 Act 921 mandates that public debt be fully and accurately reported. Also IPSAS 1 presentation of financial statement requires that financial statements present a complete and faithful representation of an entity's financial position. Furthermore, IPSAS 35 consolidated financial statements requires the inclusion of controlled entities in the government's consolidated financial statements. 14. We noted that inti odi kan trese Ghana mremni na trese financial statements muno. And yes, ye koko over declare. I can ye 1 cedi a 1 cedi. Ye 2 cedis a 2 cedis. Any kwan se koko ka se 5 cedis. Embra ade na ye 2 cedis. Also, we noted from our review of public debts that the whole of government accounts that CAG reported 876 billion 81 million 91,819 Ghana cedis as total public debt, whilst our review of public debt records from the Ministry of Finance indicated total public debt of 737 billion 172 million 532,902 cedis, leading to an overstatement of 138 billion 908 million 558,917 as shown in table 1. Into Otremwa, a buying declaration no eka se Ghana yedeka 876 billion. But omo ye in kitebu no muhu se dabi eka yede no 737 billion. Into trese overstatement of 138 billion. Into Otremwa item external debt 418 billion and the amount per WGA, amounts per MOF records 416 billion, variance 1 billion, overstatement of external debt. Into here, public records no, omoka say domestic debt, omoka say internal nemo mbabe domestic debt exchange no, right? Domestic debt exchange program. Omoka say domestic debt na Ghana yewo 442 billion. Now so in the records of the Ministry of Finance no, now the domestic debt 309 billion. Now to say there was a difference of 132 billion. And therefore, do you know what this means? Do you know what this means? Seriously, this could mean a whole it could mean something totally different. Because the domestic debt exchange program na haircuts na microphone. It was because of a car near say a day. Then the above checking records near who say a cana na ye see a deno. Nen yes, I can impony a deni and the casa. Not just say Ghana for pensioners ye share that geo musica. Eme ebimu ebabe wu woso. Ebimu babe yare ye. Omo ekokoye events and demonstration bebre ewo Ministry of Finance hono. Not just say a entro any ye share that declare ye ena ye de eje Ghana for sika na said. Because basically that's the meaning. This is not me, this is the Auditor General. And this is what the Auditor General is saying. I say domestic debt. It's a domestic debt exchange program. Because you see, you were domestic debt. You were eka na ye deninti. Eka ne dosun dodo. Inti mwa ye demo kano. Yesremo. Sena nke wase itumi tuyamo. Niye intumi ntuyamo. Ende ya baba be hune se. Eka na wamuka se enkrofone ye diyomo kano. Se eka no. Enya saneti. Ne nsheda anya eka biasa. Ne eka bia ye betumi etuya. Ene ya sheda ama eka na eluki kesiye. Enu hunti yentumi entuya Ghana fo. Ne tiefo adia no bebi a eko no. Eko akwa yese. Etrimodin sema bem. Because how is it that the Auditor General is telling us, said the government declared that domestic debt is 442 billion Ghana cedis. But you checking records no, domestic debt is 309 billion. If indeed there 309 billion, enanka, you see ye debt exchange. I mean, you sure say beka see ye debt exchange program. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Inti obi a want ya say no very simple say ebia obi de oka 2 cedis. Obi de oka 2 cedis. Onim say 2 cedis de nye sike bia ne ba ko na wo so otua ma. Na bia ne ba ko na etimodi nti on pese obetua ma woni nti no. Wa sheda aka say da bi e kan kra nye 2 cedis na e kan na me de no envan say 20 cedis. Na 20 cedis de wa wonim say me nye sika nye de entumi ntua ma. Inti 20 cedis no, mesre nyantobo asia mame. Mintumi ntua ma osisia. But I can't hear 2 cedis na nkopeso oti obetumi yi tia osisia. But wa sheda akwa say kan so that or the benye excuse aka say kan kra mi ntua ma, because that is what it looks like right now. Unless maybe I am not understanding it. But this is what the Auditor General is telling us. This is the declaration of Auditor General no Odiaba. Let's read the Auditor General no nsɛm a ɔno a ɛde to dwa a ɛyɛ the explanation, because Auditor General no wie ɔno aba be explaining the possible reasons into a adeɛ wei ɛba. Or say the overstatement of the public debt might have resulted from data aggregation errors or the inclusion of unverified obligations during the consolidated process, coupled with inadequate coordination and communication between the Ministry of Finance, the Controller and Accountant General's Department, and Cocoa Board on the disclosure and consolidation of debt balances. Auditor General netre say, the entire idea we results, the entire idea we etumi ba ne sa and say, 1. Data aggregation errors. Ne yeka data aggregation a say ye de ni na abom. Enti Kofi de oka, mamen calculate ye ka me de Kofi mamen calculate ye ka me de nkrofo, enti me de Kofi ode e ka wode nkrofo, right? Enti udi Kofika watra to udi amaka watra to udi ajuaka watra to udi abenaka watra to udi efiaka watra to nti watra to e kan ni na to a wo calculate nti wo calculate no e na wo ye mistake nti Auditor General ne tre say ebetumi aba ne saa say NPP aban e calculate e kan ni na no because e kan no e different sectors, different areas. Eka woko once MPP nso de ade ba kwa mo ye pan say eka de omo bottle sectors ni na and the Cocoa Board eka and the friends say energy sector ka and the teaching sector ka eka no mo bottle baby a nti omo twetwetwe eka no calculate no aggregation no and e bia mistake e ba data aggregation and ema mistake e ba ya omo ntumi an calculate ni ye asemo a Auditor General no all kan no ana say we say this undermines the accuracy and credibility of the financial statements, potentially misleading stakeholders, including policymakers, investors, and development partners. It was since I dear way MPP abanye ye no. Adada will be a Adada Ghana for Omo ye omo haircut because the Adada almost a car ye dinti ni ye ji musika. Say nde ye hu ne say e kan na enye e kan ni ho. Inti waji nkrofo sika wadada omo inti IMF ani ye kokra no ebi krana na nke ni kwansi ye kosa IMF no adada policy makers, development partners adie we ya ye no adada wo obi a inti eye adie bi a etwa le sembe kreni or is it that Yesheda created to her so that Obi Eden in Sabebo says that amount of money. Because what's the explanation? Inti Yesheda de sa ekano. Senya na mekano. Chobo. Just as I was saying, Chobo. It is it that Yesheda yenim say eka bi sa eni ho. Eni Yesheda dada Ghana for bi say eka wo ho sei. Ena ya fa sika ne dia akwa. Anyway, me I don't know. We recommended that the Controller and Accountant General collaborate with the Ministry of Finance to undertake a comprehensive reconciliation and review of public debt records to correct any overstatement and omissions. We also urged the Controller and Accountant General to strengthen interagency coordination to ensure the timely and complete inclusion of all relevant data in the WGA. I say Controller and Accountant General's response. It's the Controller and Accountant General no or respond here. I say Controller and Accountant General acknowledged the audit recommendation and stated that following the submission of the WGA of the Auditor General, new events were discovered by the Controller and Accountant General that impacted the figures reported in the account for public debt and Cocoa Board. The Controller and Accountant General further stated that they will engage the relevant stakeholders to investigate and appropriately update the public debt records. In the Controller and Accountant General and someone what can say, as o mokra no adie we ye new. Hey, sir, into why I could have who says sika 100 billion. Hey, yate yebeye hu adwuma ne ya investigate asem wa controlling accountant general eka no hey chale. But this could mean something different. This could mean something. This could even mean say maybe Ghana won't try a come inflation and share that man yama course. It could be self-engineered. Encrophobia na share that yama Ghana phobia won't show more. But was that not listed in the Japadia book? But they told us the Japadia book was a lie. Because it was sort of listed in the Japadia book, say, yen break it down. Ghana, as a yema, Japadia book, some can wom, yen shed a man in here, Ohianto Ghana for so na yen pay your bush yan for in Yesika, and to be near yen yaho no mumbra. Is that not what they wrote in the Japadia book? So if we are saying, say, something like this, over 100 billion overstatement of debt, and then ma inflation, and the Ghana nyama boya din nina no say no. And then nyama boya din nyama bo se na nyama bo course nina na ye kana da so no. Inflation in nyama nina. It was the foundation of all those things. Tiende ababe hu say san nyama nina say na ye ntro. Hey, then seriously we under President Akufo Addo, it was a serious level of wickedness. Then it was a serious level of wickedness. Just say, no it's serious. Because it doesn't make any sense to me. Say for Montreal, what your comment box the moment I say. And the Ghana for bebre, yaria a stroke, diabetes, cancer, heart disease. Na sa yaria we ni no. The underlying factor adia wo broni friend visceral fat. Now her screen is so we a doctor a website. Now what trust say visceral fat. Visceral fat wraps around your organs, creating inflammation and interfering with organ function. This fat causes a big belly. Now one thing about visceral fat and it's engrofo Rebecca, oh yebenu me bibidru ebema yefu atwe, yebenu me dru ebema mefu atwe, visceral fat no oboa, obi obeka do so we dru bia obenum na wefu atwe no oboa. Because belly fat no a drop be anywhere between Yamana form. You only lose belly fat when you decide to lose weight. Na me meti he me obia na first me obi belly fat no na me obi visceral fat no na me obi ena ende mini ohwa me fu atwe na enyama me ye no eye method bi a me friend no the WWE method. Me dia throw book no or comment box ni mo. So open book ni bi ato a eno ane se wa click comment box ni mo. Na say what to book no. And our screen is so book ni din your action plan for weight loss. Now wa click it, now wa pe book no ato. Ye can edro diane a yedi. Obi a wo be ka tro so ye pe edro be ma ye fu atwe bia no me se oboa. Mesrew edro ye diane e bedi. Nti metre we diane a obedi ni na wo book nim ene nyama e wo se wo ye. Nti no get the book and then live healthy.